Now, Stacey, I'm looking at the picture of the attorneys all seated. I think that's Amber Heard in the courtroom. I really can't tell. But yes, the judges also entered an order and said that the jurors' names will not be released publicly, at least by the state of Virginia, for 1 year. That does not mean the jurors can't identify themselves. They could actually have their own press conference. They can talk to the media. They can self-identify. It's just that the state of Virginia will not release their names unless there's some reason to do so earlier, before 1 year.
We have two other guests with us, of course, still with us. Hey, Mike Korbanix, law and crime analyst, joining us, as well as Nima Rahmani. Okay, I take it back. It's a little chaotic with the helicopters going above. Okay, Nima Rahmani is still with us. We had an interesting question earlier, which I think it's good to remind viewers of because we have so many more people tuning in now, which is, are there any restrictions on the jurors after this case is done, after they deliver their verdict and the judgment? Can they write a book? Can they sell their notes, someone said? Are there any restrictions on the jury? Linda?
Stacey, no, there are no restrictions on that. The only thing they can't do is with the notes. They will not get their note backs, okay? They will not get their notes back. Those get stayed by the court and they get destroyed. Now, they can redo their notes so they went home every night and write what they remembered and therefore sell maybe those, the recollections. But with regard to anything else, they can talk freely. They have a First Amendment right to talk freely. All that can happen is you can't harass them as a lawyer. You can't go and harass them. No one should be harassing a jury anyhow. But they're free to talk and they're free to publish.
Okay, so, and some very well might. This is a very high-profile case where there has been a lot of interest. I mean, right now, we've got about 1.5 million of you tuning into our YouTube channel. So thank you for sticking with Law and Crime for this and for these key moments. Again, you're looking at a live picture inside the courtroom right now where everyone is assembled. Just about 4 minutes to go until 3 o'clock when we expect to see the judge come in and call the jury in for the reading of this verdict. Linda, we know there are a bunch of questions. There were a bunch of points on the special verdict form. How long do you think this will take?
Well, you're going to get a feel right away because I have the special verdict form from Johnny Depp right in front of us because our producers are just so great in getting it. I also have the one for Amber Heard. The jury form is about 4 pages long. It will go pretty fast. It won't be longer than 10 minutes right here, and maybe less. If they find no cause of action, for instance, on 1A, if they answer to, do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation on that first quotation regarding sexual violence, then they don't answer the other questions. They go right to number 2. And if they don't find that, the likelihood is they won't find for him on any of them. And the same with Amber Heard. So it's going to be under 10 minutes, Stacey.
Okay, that's good to know. And just a reminder of viewers, what we expect to happen here, if this just takes 10 to 15 minutes, the jurors, once they're led back in the jury room, they'll later be dismissed, but we expect the legal teams for both sides will come out and give some remarks, other players in this as well. Unclear whether anyone will hear anything from Amber Heard immediately after this. And by the way, if you look on the screen, she is seated there in the courtroom awaiting the verdict with the rest of us. An interesting question that we got from Haley Howell on Facebook. Has the judge already heard the verdict, or will she be hearing it for the first time when we do as well? Janine, do you want to take that one? Okay. Janine has left us. We thank her for her time. Linda, the judge is going to hear the verdict just when we do, right?
Stacey, I'm sorry. I thought Nima was going to field that one, but I'll field it. Yes, the judge.
Nima, please take it, Nima. Guys, I'm out here in our Studio A. It's hot. It's humid. I can't see all of you in the monitor. So, Nima, please, will the jury hear? Will the judge rather be hearing the verdict for the first time when we do?
The judge is going to get to see it, I guess, maybe 30, 45 seconds before, and then at that point, yeah. So the judge will know right before we vote.
Okay, so this is all kind of happening in real time, off the cuff here, and the judge will be finding out, barely any time before the rest of us. Sarah Wilson on YouTube asked, are they going to show the courtroom when it's being read? Yes, Sarah, that's what you're seeing now on your screen is a live picture of the courtroom. You see the attorneys there, you see Johnny Depp's attorneys there, you see Amber's attorneys, and you see Amber herself. Again, for those of you who are just tuning in, because we have new people logging on every minute as we get closer and closer, literally literally 1 minute away from 3 o'clock. Johnny Depp, we have been told by sources close to him, obviously is not going to be here. He's not there now. He is still in the UK after doing a series of surprise performances with Jeff Beck. He is expected to stay there. His team said that he had prior commitments in the UK, and he will be watching the verdict from there. We'll see whether he issues any kind of comment, video statement. We just don't know what we'll hear from him, but we do expect we will hear from his legal team as soon as this is over. And again, our camera's outside of the courtroom on standby, where we have seen crowds growing, supporters, and so forth as we get ready for this verdict to be read. It is about 3 o'clock.
All right, are we ready for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Just for everybody in the gallery, reminder that this is a court of law, and regardless of the verdict, I will not tolerate any outbursts whatsoever. Okay? Thank you. If I could have the attorneys approach for a moment.
All right, again, you're looking live in, okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what I need you to do, I need to give the forms back to you. When you find for a defamatory statement, one or more, you need to fill out the compensatory damages. It has to be at least $1 for compensatory damages and up to whatever you feel the damages should be. Back to the operation room and do that for me, okay? All right, so we'll be in recess till we hear back from them. Don't go too far, okay? All right,
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. All rise.
Well, just as we were telling you, this could wrap up in just about 10 minutes by 3:10, 3:15. Not so fast. There was a little sidebar going on with the attorneys in the front. Apparently, the jurors didn't fill out the damages section. The judge now sending them back to complete this special verdict form, literally like a worksheet that they need to fill out. They didn't put in the damages. Linda, what do you make of that?
Well, Stacey, it means somebody won this case, that somebody won their defamation claims, right? Now, the fact that they didn't fill out the compensatory damages award, I think may bode well for Johnny Depp. The judge said it has to be at least $1. Usually you see if somebody wins, you have to fill out an award. Either that or somehow they both won, which I don't think is likely. But he was the one that didn't ask for damages, if you recall. He said, I'm not seeking damages. She asked for, I think it was $350,000 damages. So it sounds like someone won. It could be Johnny Depp because the jury may have telegraphed it by not filling out an award for damages. But under the law, at least has to be $1.
Right, so maybe they missed that instruction and just figured, oh, we're not awarding damages, so we're going to leave it blank.
That's right. That's what it could sound like.
Now, in the very unlikely event that they just forgot to do that section and they actually did intend for some kind of damages, we had a question from viewers earlier, which is what happens if there's a verdict, say, against Amber Heard and there's a judgment awarded for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard doesn't have that money, whether it's $50 million, whether it's $20 million, whether it's $10 million. What happens if she doesn't have that money, Linda?
Well, you know, we have that in many civil cases where the person that gets the verdict, they don't have, the defendant doesn't have the money, right? You can pursue her. It could be a claim that follows her around for the rest of her life. With it gets docketed, it gets logged. She could discharge it in bankruptcy, assuming it's against her. We're making a lot of assumptions. Maybe it's against him and it's $1. Who knows? But the likelihood is that with $1 verdict, the jury may just want to be sending a message for whoever wins. And again, we're assuming it's Johnny Depp, but it also could be Amber Heard because she was seeking damages. Maybe they found for her, but not giving her damages. We just don't know.
Yeah, we just don't know. I mean, this should be relatively quick, I would think, right? For them, if they've already decided on this and it was just an oversight that they didn't put anything in or didn't know that they had to write something. So, you know, they hopefully will be back in a few minutes. As we've been telling our viewers and more are turning in, the verdict has not been read yet. Just to bring everyone up to speed, here's what happened. Right at 3 o'clock on the dot, the judge, she is very punctual. She came into the courtroom. Everyone stood up. She brought in the jury. There was a little sidebar between the attorneys up in front. They were looking and they said, oh, guys, jurors, you didn't fill out the compensatory damages. You didn't fill that part out. There's nothing here. You have to go back to the jury room and fill this out. And so the jury was sent back out to take care of that, and that's what we're waiting for at this point. Again, Amber Heard, as you can see, is there in the courtroom with her attorneys. Johnny Depp is not here. His team having told us that because of prior commitments in the UK, which we know to be shows, he's playing music with Jeff Beck. He will be watching the verdict from the UK. So who knows? Maybe he's watching our coverage. If so, Johnny, call us. We want to do an interview with you as soon as this is all over. Linda, any final predictions here as we wait for word?
Well, it's very interesting with this possible $1 worth of damages. Now, but I have a question here, Stacey. I wonder if the teams know who the verdict was for, because remember, the judge brought them to the bench. They were looking through the verdict form. She obviously had to tell them that there was a verdict in favor of someone, but has to send them back for damages. We can't see the courtroom, so we can't see the body language or what's happening.
That's a good point.
So,
that is a good point.
I wonder whether they know who's won and who is lost, Stacey.
And if they did perhaps see that, I mean, would that be an issue? Would there be any sort of violation of rules or any ethics issues if they saw it before it was read out publicly in court?
Absolutely. Quite frankly, they have a right to see it and to tell their clients. So no, there's no violation. They have to know when the jury has filled out the forms, and they have to know is there a problem, because the judge has to tell them what she is going to do so they can either lodge an objection or not lodge an objection. And again, could they have just forgotten to fill it out? They may not have known that you just give $1 compensatory damages. Maybe it wasn't in the instructions. Quite frankly, I don't remember seeing it, but we should have one of our legal, eagle, fabulous people here that go through everything with a fine-tooth comb again to see whether there was an instruction about whether or not you had to award a compensatory damage of $1 if somebody wins.
Let me set the scene for those who are just tuning in. You're looking at a picture live outside the Fairfax County Courthouse here, where you see the crowds are growing. If you can hear in the audio behind me, there are helicopters circling up and above, local news helicopters taking pictures of the crowds. It was just, I think, gosh, I'm losing track already, but around 1:30 when we got word that a verdict was going to be read at 3 o'clock. At that point, it was basically just media hanging out outside trying to keep cool. As soon as we found out the verdict was coming, well, quickly, all the media assembled in their spots. lots, and we started to see more and more cars pull up, into the parking lot, more fans come outside. Obviously, more people go inside the courtroom. You have to have one of these special wristbands in order to be in the courtroom or the overflow room. And now we see a much bigger crowd, which is probably going to continue to grow over the next few minutes. It's possible, since we now know that Johnny Depp is not coming, that some of the fans who were hoping to catch a glimpse after the verdict was read, they decided to sit it out because they know he's not here. Again, Amber Heard is there inside of the courtroom with her legal team. Unclear whether she'll make any kind of statement afterwards. As you can see in that picture outside the courtroom, there is a live picture, there is a podium rather set up with all the microphones. So as soon as the verdict's read and the legal teams come out and the other key players come out, we are going to be getting that reaction to you, those responses to you live. A little bit of behind the scenes info here. Our own Aunt Jeanette has just stepped outside, so she's going to join me in just a second to give me the lowdown on what's going on inside, what the timeline is here, when we could see the jury back in the courtroom. But again, if you're just joining us, we were supposed to have the verdict read right at 3 o'clock. The judge did call the jury into the room right at 3 o'clock. Johnny Depp's legal team was there. Amber Heard and her legal team were sitting in there. But they looked at the paperwork, they looked at this special jury form, and someone said, the judge said, you guys forgot to fill out something pretty crucial here because the damages page was left blank. And the attorneys had a little sidebar, and then the judge sent the jury back to fill in the damages. Aunt Jeanette just sat down next to me. Aunt Jeanette, tell me, what's going on in there? What was the vibe? What's going on?
Well, I think the vibe was, everybody, we're told that we're not allowed to talk to anybody in there, which, we're news people, so, and we're just human beings,
Right.
so that's really difficult, so we got kind of shushed. But it was interesting because it was kind of heavy. Like, Amber Heard walked in, she kind of greeted her attorneys, wearing a black dress. Her hair kind of pulled back loosely. This is different from a lot of the times we've seen her come in with the braids. I couldn't see whether she smiled or anything like that, but she came in. Obviously, we know Johnny Depp had previously scheduled concerts with Jeff Beck in London, so he's not here.
Right.
He's watching, we're told, from the UK. So they came in, the jury walked in, they took their seats, they kind of just looked around slightly, not a lot, and then they just kind of focused on the judge. Judge Ascarati calls the lawyers up. She says, you have to assign damages. I think I can safely say if they didn't assign damages and they were supposed to, they found defamatory statements, right?
Right. That's what we have been saying, and Linda agrees with you too. Tell me, first of all, who's in the courtroom, in the audience? Is it a mix of media and regular people, onlookers? Is it completely packed?
It's not as packed as it could be or as it has been. Like, there have been a lot of days where it's just totally packed. I was sitting next to a reporter from the UK, another reporter from Courthouse News. We were just, we've talked a lot during this case. We saw some of the local, I would call like more local Depp fans here. I didn't see any Amber Heard supporters up there. That doesn't mean there might not have been one or two there, but I did not see them. And, it's just kind of like, I felt like everybody's just kind of sitting there. They're waiting for the big news.
Anticipation.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like, false alarm. And you came back out here. Does that mean you don't think they're going to be back for a bit?
Well,
I just felt
I should come out here, and sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath.
Yeah, and Aunt Jeanette has her tennis shoes on, by the way. So she is out here running for you guys to get you everything you need to know. And don't forget, it's close to 100 degrees out here.
Yeah, it's close to 100 degrees. And I swapped the the sandals for the Brooks sneakers. So but I ran out of there as everybody else did, got on the elevator, came out. They obviously have set things up much differently now at the press conference area, and they've put up the I forget what you call them, not barricades, but the little, they've set it up so that the attorneys can walk out in a civilized manner and not be swarmed by people.
Right.
Because
there's barricades because they don't want people rushing them, and those barricades have been set up since yesterday in anticipation.
But this looks like almost like a red carpet or something. This is different than the barricades. This is like in front of the courthouse doors, and it's those things where you can kind of unhook the thing, the little ribbon thing, and you can unhook it. And they have those, and there are fans defense on both sides. So there are Depp supporters, it appears, on both sides.
Right,
of
and
that.
we're showing our viewers that picture outside the courthouse right now. So, and by the way, I just want to say to everyone who's tuned in right now, we've got 2.7 million people watching us on YouTube. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Feel free to send in your questions, because while we wait, we want to answer more of your viewer questions. We've got, once again, our all-star panel. Linda Kenny Bodden's with us in the studio. We've got other guests joining us. Obviously, Aunt Jeanette is here, so keep sending us your questions, and we are here to answer them. Now, it's funny, you know, you say it's almost like a red carpet. These lawyers have really attained celebrity status over the last 6+ going on 7 weeks of this trial. I mean, Camille Vasquez now has fans from all over.
That's
Talk
true.
a little bit about that, about sort of like the status that these lawyers have earned during this trial.
Yeah, and Ben Chu especially and Camille Vasquez have become celebrities. You know, TikTok started making videos about both of them. There have been plenty of moments in this trial that were comical, despite the very serious subject matter being discussed. But there have been some amusing moments, and they have become stars in their own right. They've become almost legal superstars. So they've become celebrities. There have been times out here when they've left court where I actually felt a little bit concerned, because I felt like even
Those of you that
Alright.
just tune in, it's a hearing from the courtroom itself. So just prepare for the answer.
All right, Mr. Foreperson, is this the verdict of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, is it unanimous?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Jamie?
In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Mr. Depp's claim against Ms. Heard. 1. As to the statement appearing in the online op-ed entitled, "Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change." In the Washington Post online edition, quote, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that, question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false? Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes. 2. As to the statement appearing in the op-ed entitled "A Transformative Moment for Women" in the Washington Post print edition and the online op-ed, "Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," in the Washington Post online edition. Quote, "Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out," end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that, question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false? Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes. 3. As to the statement appearing in the op-ed entitled "A Transformative Moment for Women" in the Washington Post print edition and the online op-ed, "Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," in the Washington Post online edition. Quote, "I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse," end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that, question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false? Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard. Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of this statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp. Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $5 million. In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Ms. Heard's claim against Mr. Depp. 1. As to this statement, appearing in the April 8, 2020 online edition of the Daily Mail, quote, Amber Heard and her friends in the media use fake sexual violence allegations as both a sword and shield, depending on their needs. They have selected some of her sexual violence hoax facts as the sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, no. 2. As to this statement appearing in the April 27, 2020 online edition of the Daily Mail, quote, quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. They set Mr. Depp up by calling the cops, but the first attempt did not do the trick. The officers came to the penthouses, thoroughly searched and interviewed, and left after seeing no damage to face or property. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine and roughed the place up, got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and publicist, and then placed a second call to 911, end quote. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Ms. Heard proven by a greater weight of the evidence that, question, Mr. Waldman, while acting as an agent for Mr. Depp, made or published the statement? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Ms. Heard. Answer, yes. Question, the statement was seen by someone other than Ms. Heard. Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false. Answer, yes. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven by clear and convincing evidence that the statement by Mr. Waldman was made with actual malice? Answer, yes. 3. As to this statement, appearing in the April 27, 2020 online edition of the Daily Mail, quote, we've reached the beginning of the end of Ms. Heard's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp, end quote. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, no. As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $2 million. As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $0.
Does either side wish to have the jury polled?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Jamie?
Members of the jury, if this is your verdict, please answer yes. If this is not your verdict, please answer no. Juror number 6.
Yes.
Juror number 10.
Yes.
Juror number 15.
Yes.
Juror number 16.
Yes.
Juror number 22.
Yes.
Juror number 27. Juror number 29.
Yes.
All right. I do find that the jury's verdict is unanimous. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your service in this case. I want to thank you again for your dedication and your hard work during this trial, and I know I speak for everybody here when I tell you that we appreciate your sacrifices and your time and your public service in this matter, okay? So I'm going to have you go back to the jury deliberation room for one more time, and then we'll release you from there, okay? All right, thank you. All right. Okay. In accordance with law, I will amend the punitive damages award to the statutory cap of $350,000 on Mr. Depp's award, okay? I will set this down for entry of an order, and can we do it on June 24th at 10 a.m. if that's available? All right, Mr. Chu, if you could prepare that order and then circulate it to Ms. Brederhoff, and we can have all the objections noted on it. All right?
We'll do that, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
All right, and if I get it before that date, I'll take it off the docket, okay? All right, again, thank you to all the attorneys for your professionalism, and you're welcome to come to my courtroom anytime. Well, give me a few weeks, but then you can come anytime, okay? All right,
Thank you, Your Honor.
court is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
So apparently Amber lost the case and Johnny Depp wins. This verdict is just like telling me that okay, the human right is there, but the point is Johnny Depp lost certain things like the contract to Disney, Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a big wreck. And then whatever happened to Johnny and some other company had this termination of contract rather than suspension, then well, Johnny Depp win. So congratulations to Johnny Depp and those people that hit Amber Heard. Don't get me wrong, I mean she does things wrong, but I do hope in the future that Amber Heard doesn't do something like this, and it's waste of time, completely waste of time, and it's a 2 months period. So once again, thanks guys for staying tuned, and yeah, Johnny Depp wins. So I think that's all about it for now.
Outside the courtroom where you can see these fans. As I said, every time a judgment was read in favor of Johnny Depp, a huge crowd, cheers went up here. The crowd cheering Johnny, Johnny, clearly heavily tilted in favor of Johnny Depp outside the courtroom right now. And so they're still standing outside. I imagine they are going to be here waiting for Johnny Depp's legal team to come out. As I was talking about just a few minutes ago with Anjanette, the lawyers themselves have basically earned celebrity status during the course of this trial. The judge sending the jurors back into the jury room one more time before they are dismissed. Linda, do you think we're going to hear anything from Amber Heard?
Well, she came to the courthouse, so I assume that she will give a press conference. They'll say they're going to appeal the verdict. They'll say that she was vindicated. Remember, this case has a lot of spin going on with it. But she's going to be asked the question: is how do you feel about the jury not believing your claims against Johnny Depp that he is he was the abuser? It turns out he was the victim, and she's not going to be happy with that question. I don't think there's an answer she can give that can spin that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's no question we're going to hear from her legal team. Maybe they'll take some questions. My guess is if she were to come out, and that's a big if because this is a pro-Johnny Depp crowd out here, if she were to come out, maybe she would make a brief prepared statement and then be like immediately ushered into a car by security. I don't think she's going to be doing any kind of press conference answering any major questions right now. Depp's team, on the other hand, I expect they will be. Again, for those who are just tuning in, the verdicts, I should say, not the verdict, but the verdicts are in, and Johnny Depp, the clear winner here, the jury determining that Amber Heard did defame him on all 3 counts that were being considered in her 2018 Washington Post op-ed. And joining us now is the one, the only, Dan Abrams, the founder of the Law and Crime Network with us. Dan, give me your reaction.
Well, first of all, we have to say, wow. I mean, I'm sitting in a car watching this live stream, just like 3 million plus others have been on the Law and Crime Network. And the fact that Johnny Depp won on all 3 of the counts is pretty amazing. Remember, this is a case where he sued a publication in London where the standard is harder to win. And a judge came back and said, no, he believed that Johnny Depp was a, quote, wife beater on 12 of 14 counts. Now you have a jury here of 7 people, 5 men and 2 women, coming back and saying that Johnny Depp was defamed on all 3 of the counts. I mean, this, I think, is a real surprise to a lot of people. Now, I had talked about previously the possibility of both of them, quote unquote, winning. But I think this, quote, win for Amber Heard is really a token win. Putting aside the money, right? Putting aside the fact that it's $15 million for him, $2 million for her, that's not just the issue here. You know, it sounds like the issue the jurors had with the statement made by the lawyer for Johnny Depp was about the fact that she got together with her friends, effectively conspiring. So maybe they didn't believe that aspect of it. But it seems to me that the takeaway from this case is these jurors believed Johnny Depp and they didn't believe Amber Heard. I don't think there is any other way to interpret all of these verdicts together.
Yeah, and Dan, I think that's a really good point because the statement in which the jurors found for Amber Heard was a longer one that Adam Waldman made in which he said, you know, talking about Amber and her friends setting Johnny Depp up, and to your point saying, yeah, so Amber and her friends spilled a little wine, they roughed up the place, got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and publicist, then placed a second call to 911. So perhaps the jurors didn't believe that whole sort of collaboration, right, conspiring happened. Would you say that then this is not a total loss for Amber Heard, though?
I think it's a total loss for Amber Heard. I mean, it's better. I mean, it's better that she won that one aspect of it than she didn't win anything. Her team can now try and spin it and suggest that it was, you know, both sides and people didn't believe either. But in the end, I mean, when we talk to these jurors, and I'm sure that some of them will talk, they're going to tell you, I feel confident that they're going to tell you that they simply did not believe Amber Heard. Because remember, it's not that she won on all 3 of the counts with regard to her countersuit either. I mean, if basically the jurors had come back and said he wins on all counts and she wins on all counts, then I'd have a different answer for you. But because they said he wins on all counts, but she just wins on this one issue, it seems to me that I don't see how those jurors believe on questions 2 and 3 with regard to Johnny Depp, not just the sexual violence claim, but the rest of it. I don't see how those jurors come back and say that he was defamed and that there was any sort of equivalency here. If he was defamed by that statement and Amber Heard did not win on those countersuits with regard to calling it a hoax, etc., these jurors clearly believed Johnny Depp and didn't believe Amber Heard.
Yeah, Dan, let me stop you here because our 3.5 or so million viewers, 3 million viewers on YouTube, some people have some concerns. They want to make sure that you are not driving. Like so many people, I'm sure you stopped whatever you were doing when you heard a verdict was coming at 3 o'clock. You picked up your phone and dialed into YouTube, right?
I'm in the back seat of a car. I'm not actually driving the car.
Right. He's not at the wheel, guys. He's in the back seat of a car. He's safe. Everyone on the road is safe. Dan's a lawyer. He wouldn't endanger himself and others. Let's talk about the appeal. Is Amber Heard going to appeal this, Dan?
Absolutely, she's going to appeal it. And remember, people have to remember that when you're appealing primarily the legal rulings, right? So she will appeal some of the testimony that was allowed to come in. She will appeal some of the aspects of the judge's rulings in this case, the pretrial rulings, the ruling itself. She's going to challenge the fact that there was a camera in the courtroom. There's going to be a whole panoply of challenges that she's going to make about how unfair the trial was, and she'll also seek to reduce damages, right? In any appeal, the first thing you want to do, in addition to try and get a new trial, get it thrown out, is to try to reduce the damages and say that the jury made mistakes in how it assessed damages. I think that's her most likely chance of success here, but you know, that's not going to be the win for her. I mean, this to me is just, it's basically an all-out win for Johnny Depp And I do think that this gets him exactly what he wanted here, which is, I don't think he cares about the money, whether he ends up getting the money. She probably doesn't have that kind of money. This is vindication for Johnny Depp. A jury has said that he was defamed by these comments. And that means that these jurors believe that he was not a domestic abuser. And I think that allows him to get back his career in many ways. You could argue there were other reasons he'd lost much of his career, but this is a massive win for Johnny Depp, and I don't think it can be underestimated to characterize it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, you touched on the damages, and let me remind our viewers again that the jury awarded Johnny Depp $15 million in damages, and they awarded Amber Heard $2 million for finding that one of the statements made by Johnny Depp's lawyers was defamatory. So a little bit of imbalance in what's owed. To your point, you know, Amber might not have that money. We've talked about this already, but what happens to her in this case? She doesn't have the $15 million for damages.
Well, we'll see. Look, there's going to be a lot of appeals. We're a long way from the final judgment being issued in this case, and Johnny Depp pursuing the damages against her. Well, let's see what happens there before we say that Amber Heard is going to have to declare bankruptcy. Which is potentially something that could happen in the end if she owed this kind of money and simply can't pay it. She could also try and raise money through donations, etc., from other people based on the reaction to this trial. I'm not sure that would be particularly successful. But, I think we're a little ways away from knowing exactly how much she's going to have to pay and how she's going to get that money.
Let's talk about Johnny Depp for a second, because a little bit before we found out that there was a verdict, we did confirm that he was not going to be here. There had been a lot of speculation. We know he's been playing rock shows the last 3 nights in the UK. We knew there was a possibility he'd stay there. In fact, his team confirmed he would be staying there and watching the verdict from there. Any thoughts on him not being present for the verdict?
This is not a criminal case. I think that people are sort of conflating this with a criminal trial. People say, how could he not be there? This is a civil case for damages. You could argue, okay, does he not care enough to be there? I don't know. I mean, I don't view it as particularly significant that when it comes to a verdict that could take many days, that he decided he didn't want to wait. That's really more, from my perspective, a PR issue than it is a legal question. And the dollars, okay, but that didn't happen.
I think.
And so.
Okay, you're back. Dan, can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay, so you brought up really it's more of a PR question, and so no, that's okay. We get it. Lots going on. Listen, so you said, yeah, that's a PR question about Depp not being here. So I have another PR question for you, because you watch so many of these high-profile trials, and yes, this is not a criminal trial, but we've seen a lot of high-profile civil trials. We know that these stars' reputations, what was left of them essentially, were at stake. Amber Heard's in the courtroom. We know both legal teams are going to come out. Do you think Amber Heard is going to address the media at all?
I don't think, with all those Johnny Depp fans out there, she wants to hold a press conference where people start yelling at her and those sound bites end up showing. If I were her PR team, I would let the lawyers for Amber Heard make statements. I wouldn't have her. I'd have her sit down with someone, a relatively favorable journalist sometime, tomorrow, next day, whenever, to give her statement. I don't think she wants the sound bites of her talking about how upset she is, about the disappointed she is, and people yelling at her and jeering at her. But I'd expect that both sides' lawyers would likely make themselves available to the media right there after the case. And of course, the most interesting part is going to be talking to the jurors, if and when they'll talk.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that most be talking to. Yeah.
Absolutely. Dan, thank you so much for dialing in and sharing your response with us, your reactions to this big pivotal moment after more than 6 weeks of covering this trial. We thank you so much. Maybe we'll check in with you later. But for now, I want to go right to Linda in the studio. She has a statement from Johnny Depp, his reaction to the verdict. Linda.
Oh, my goodness. I'm actually trying to find it right now, Stacey, so just give me 1 second here. Hold on 1 second. You know, live TV, a lot going on. Okay, I need the statement. I will read it to you, but I need the statement. But while I'm waiting for that, if our producers can put it here, okay? All right, let me read it right now. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go, all right? And by the way, I love Dan commenting on our favorite witness by giving his report from his car. Alejandro, I'm changing my Zoom background. But here's Johnny Depp via his spokesperson. 6 years ago, my life, the life of my children, the lives of those closest to me, and also the lives of the people who for many, many years have supported and believed in me were forever changed, all in the blink of an eye. False, very serious and criminal allegations were levied at me by the media, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content, although no charges were ever brought against me. It had already traveled around the world twice within a nanosecond, and it had a seismic impact on the life and my career. And 6 years later, the jury gave back my life. I am truly humbled. My decision to pursue this case, knowing very well the height of the legal hurdles that I would be facing and the inevitable worldwide spectacle into my life, was only made after considerable thought. From the very beginning, the goal of bringing this case was to reveal the truth regardless of the outcome. Speaking the truth was something that I owe to my children and to those who have remained steadfast in their support of me. I feel at peace knowing that I have finally accomplished that. I am and have been overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and the colossal support and kindness from around the world. I hope that my quest to have the truth be told will have helped others, men or women, who have found themselves in my situation, and that those supporting them never give up. I also hope that the position will now return to the innocent until proven guilty, both within the courts and the media. I wish to acknowledge the noble work of the judge, the jurors, the court staff, and the sheriffs who have sacrificed their own time to get to this point, and to my diligent and unwavering legal team who did an extraordinary job in helping me share the truth. The best is yet to come, and a new chapter has finally begun. Veritas numquat perit. Truth never perishes. That's from Johnny Depp. That's the statement. Stacey, I know that you are sitting out there with Ann Jeanette. We have Nima here in the studio right now. What is your reaction to that? Stacey, what is going back to you, your reaction to all that? Johnny Depp's statement, very long, very well thought.
My reaction to you is Amber Heard's statement, which we just have in to us right now. Let me read that. The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. She goes on to say, I believe Johnny's attorney succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore evidence that was so conclusive that he won in the UK. I'm sad I lost this case, but I am sadder still that I seem to have lost a right that I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly. Again, that's a statement from Amber Heard sent to us by her publicist, where she says, I'm sad I lost this case. So even though the jurors did find that Johnny Depp's attorney defamed her with one of his statements, as we've been saying, clearly this is a big loss for her. And Linda, when she says, you know, this is an affront to freedom of speech, what's your take on that?
It's not. The problem is that we said this is a very important case for freedom of speech when we started covering it here at the Law and Crime Network. But it's also important that those don't abuse it. People do not abuse the freedom of speech. They don't defame others, especially calling someone who may have been the victim, or now the jury says is the victim, the abuser, and changing his life and the life of his family and children forever. So you have freedom of speech, yes, but you can't lie about people, and you can't lie about the people in the public. And I think the jury felt that, as we talked many times on this network, that Amber Heard was manipulative, and they did not want to be manipulated by her lies to them. And therefore, they came out with this very convincing verdict. And it is a total win, as Dan Abrams said, for Johnny Depp, because on the other side of the token, what you have is a lawyer who's going to be paying a malpractice policy if it doesn't get overturned on appeal.
Linda, Anjanette Levy's back outside with us now. She was inside when the verdicts were read. What was the mood? Did you get any reaction from Amber and her team? What was going on in there as the verdicts were read?
Well, I was sitting behind her team, her side of the courtroom, and I was trying to see, obviously I'm seeing the back of their heads, so I didn't get much reaction. Obviously they're disappointed. They believe they're right. They believe he's wrong. But the jury saw otherwise. The jury, he ran the table. He may not have gotten the $50 million, but he won on every question.
Right.
That jury found that they believed that she lied. That's what they're saying. They're saying she lied, and that she put it out there in the public to hurt him. And it did hurt him. So she will appeal, I'm sure. But, obviously he lost on the second Waldman statement.
Right.
So, yes.
So, we said, okay, a little bit of a win for her. Now, it seemed extremely quiet, like you could hear a pin drop in there.
Yes.
I assume, was there any reaction from the crowd? Did anyone sort of gasp, sigh, anything like that,
Yeah, there were smiles, obviously. There were smiles. I kept trying to look around to see Ben Chu and Camille Vasquez's reactions, and they were kind of, I could see Ben Chu smiling a little bit, but it wasn't like a huge smile. It's a court of law. There's a certain level of decorum. Obviously they are pleased. They won. They may not have gotten the $50 million that they were seeking in the original claim, but he got 10. They found that he deserved compensatory damages of $10 million and then punitive damages of $5 million, but that's capped at $350,000 by statute, so he won't get the $5 million in punitive damages. But I could see there were fans of his in there who were smiling. I must say, I think I mentioned this on the air earlier today, and I wanted to grab him before I came out here, and I just couldn't. I hope he comes. If you're watching, he said he's been watching. Come by the tent. Please come by the tent. We invite you. But this gentleman was in line with me for a wristband this morning, and he said that he used to try cases, is what he said. And he told me this morning he believed, I'm pretty sure he said, I believe the jury will be back today and they will give him $14 million. When they said the 10 and 5, I literally looked back and he just smiled at me. I was like, how did you know? So he needs to come over here and give us an exclusive because he said that to me this morning whenever we were here at 7 a.m.
So, and Jeanette, I believe our camera's up now showing you guys the front of the courthouse. You've been talking to these lawyers throughout the process. You expect
as much as we can.
As much as you can.
I mean, they were not
you've introduced yourself.
Yes.
You've not been getting inside details or anything that you shouldn't be.
Right.
But you've spoken to them enough.
I'm a very chatty person.
Right.
So
that's why we love you. So you expect that both sides will be coming out to deliver some remarks.
I don't know that. I would certainly hope so. We are all set up for a press conference. I would certainly hope that Depp's team would come out and make some comments. The world is watching. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say the world is watching.
More than 3 million people watching on our channel alone.
Yes, and we've got a chopper up above, some type of news chopper. We've got the world media set up here. So I would assume and hope that they might come out. I keep trying to check my phone, but still pay attention, obviously, to what we're doing here.
Sure.
So we're not being rude here, people. This is just how we operate in 2022.
Right.
So we are trying to get that information. I would certainly hope they would come out. We're allowed to do this now. This was not allowed during the trial, not at all. The judge said nothing, no interviews, no public statements.
Which is common during.
Correct. It's a gag order of sorts.
Yeah. So we want to, for those who may have missed part of the verdicts, it happened somewhat quickly. Let's go back and listen to the part when the jurors delivered their monetary judgment in Johnny Depp's favor.
$5 million. In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Ms. Heard's claim against Mr. Depp.
Okay, some technical difficulties. Okay. We're having some technical difficulties apparently with that clip. So Anjanette, we were just talking about, we expect attorneys from both sides are going to come out, probably make a statement, maybe Johnny Depp's team. We hear some activity now. So can we go in live to that camera, guys? Wow, you can hear the cheers erupting. I can only assume that that is the Depp legal team coming outside right now, taking their real live victory lap in real time.
I'm going to go to the podium.
And here they are approaching the podium, Ben Chu, Camila Vasquez, the rest of the Johnny Depp legal team.
Hi everyone. Today's verdict confirms what we have said from the beginning, that the claims against Johnny Depp are defamatory and unsupported by any evidence. We are grateful, so grateful to the jury for their careful deliberation, to the judge and the court staff who have devoted an enormous amount of time and resources towards this case.
Our judicial system is predicated on each person's right to have his or her case heard, and we were honored, truly honored, to assist Mr. Depp in ensuring that his case was fairly considered throughout the trial. We are also most pleased that the trial has resonated for so many people in the public who value truth and justice. Now that the jury has reached its conclusive verdict, it's time to turn the page and look to the future. Thank you all so much, and thanks to the jury.
Thank you so much.
Vasquez, have you spoken to Johnny? How is he feeling? How's Johnny feeling?
Will Johnny and Amber ever speak to each other again?
Ms. Vasquez, is this the end of the matter? Ms. Vasquez, will there be any more legal action?
Is Mr. Johnny Depp going to run for office?
Well, there you have it. Attorneys for Johnny Depp not taking any questions right now. They made a brief statement. They have gotten into their SUV. I can see a lot of movement behind me as crowds sort of gather to watch, presumably as their SUV starts to pull away. Cheers in their favor, questions being thrown at them. I heard someone say, will Johnny Depp and Amber Heard ever speak to each other again, to the attorneys? It's a good question, actually. And I guess that's it for now. Some of what they said, we are so grateful to the judge and jury. We were truly honored to assist Mr. Depp. We are most pleased that this trial has resonated for so many who value truth and justice. A quick victory statement from the legal team. Linda, did you expect they would say any more? Did you expect they would say any less?
I love the statement. I love the fact that it was short, because they know they're going to say it's a victory for their client. They know that this is their client's win, that he pushed them. This moment belongs to the client. So I love the fact that they were short, they were sweet, and they gave credit to their client. And you know, Stacey, when we were looking and waiting for that verdict, and remember I was talking about how everyone was stoic and stone-faced and poker-faced, you saw Camille turn around, actually, to her team with a big smile before the verdict was read, which was kind of like a clue. They know they had won that case.
Yeah, for sure. So now we wait and see whether Amber's team comes out and makes a brief statement as well. Look, I have to imagine they are going to say something. Not Amber herself, but the legal team. Obviously, they may be booed, although I'm already seeing some of the Depp supporters leave. There was a family.
All right, we have a little bit of some type of logistical issue right there. We are back and we're trying to reconnect Stacey's mic, but as you heard, Johnny Depp did win his case. We're going to listen to that moment in court when he won his verdict. All 3 counts, an enormous, gigantic win. Well, apparently, let's talk about it. $10 million for the 3 statements. And the 3 statements were, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath that has to change. That was the headline of that article, the op-ed that she wrote, and then she republished it from her social media account with a comment which let it go to a whole new audience. A very difficult count to win, but he did win defamation against her. The second one was, then 2 years ago I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the force of our culture's wrath for women to speak out. And the third one, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. All 3 of those statements found by the jury to be defamatory. I think Stacey Delicate is back with us right now in terms of watching what's happening on that lawn, the victory celebration for Depp supporters. Is this still crazy out there, Stacey?
We just heard another round of cheers of erupt, and that was the big black SUV carrying Johnny Depp's legal team pulling out of the courthouse, and off they go after delivering that brief victory statement again, in which they said, we're so grateful to the jury and the judge. We were truly honored to assist Mr. Depp. We are most pleased that this trial has resonated for so many who value truth and justice, was among some of the comments that were made there. Yes, do I expect that the legal team, Johnny Depp's legal team, is going to pop up probably in many other places and say a little bit more? Yeah, probably, because as we've been saying, these attorneys themselves, Camille Vasquez, Ben Shu, have basically achieved celebrity status during this trial, have built up their own following. Why not ride it to the end for them? Now, we're still standing by outside waiting to see whether Amber Heard's legal team is going to come out and make a statement. As you know, her publicist already did release a statement to us in which she said, in part, a statement from Amber, the disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. And then she went on to say that she's even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women, that it is a setback. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. And obviously there's been a lot of chatter, a lot of opining back and forth in the media since this trial began about whether this trial will have some kind of chilling effect on victims of domestic abuse. And there are still many people who believe indeed it will, who are really discouraged. I mean, I think we're all sort of discouraged by some of the threats and the really kind of nasty things that have been thrown towards Amber. I think that that's just not appropriate at all. We heard during the trial her attorney say that there have been threats on her baby. Someone said they wanted to microwave her baby. I mean, those are truly horrific things. But this blanket statement she makes about it being a greater statement on domestic violence, I mean, we'll wait and see. I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot of reaction on both sides. Linda, what is your feeling when she says, this is a statement for domestic violence survivors everywhere?
Stacey, I've seen a number of op-eds published in some of the media outlets about this, but people who haven't watched this trial. And I recommend for everyone who publishes that to go back into and listen to, we have it on YouTube, This jury sat in that courtroom with many, many weeks, and they gave up their lives because you had to listen to the testimony. And many of us came to this case, Stacey, thinking that Johnny Depp didn't have a chance of winning it. But as the case started and went on, he became incredibly believable. And the jury obviously found that she was not only not believable, but that she had made up untruths about Johnny Depp for her own purposes. So it's really not a statement about domestic victims and violence as regard to Amber Heard. It is a case about violence on domestic abuses and also victims relating to Johnny Depp. So it's maybe a one-off case, but it has brought a lot of attention to the fact that anybody can be abused. If you are a man who's abused, you can come forward without fear that you're going to be ridiculed, because if Johnny Depp did it and had brought out everything about him, his drug use, his drug abuse into the public, well, then anyone can do it.
Linda, let's go now to Anjanette, who's outside the courthouse, where there are still fans out there, where we just saw the Depp legal team come and make a statement and go. Anjanette, what's going on out front?
Oh, okay. Hi, guys. So sorry, I didn't realize I was live. Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Anjanette. Yes,
Okay,
we can
I'm
hear
not
you. Tell us what's going on out front.
Okay, sorry, I'm not hearing anybody in the studio. So this is live TV. This is what happens during breaking news. So joining me right now is John Cox. We met in the line for wristbands this morning. John, you're a former assistant U.S. attorney. You told me this morning you tried cases. Tell me what you told me this morning at 7 a.m.
I said I thought the jury was going to break on the sexual violence count, and I thought they would return the parties to the status quo, about a $14 million verdict.
And you thought that Depp would win. Did you expect he ran the table?
I didn't see that.
You didn't.
No.
He won every count, but he didn't get the $50 million.
It just seemed like there was competing facts on both sides, but the sexual violence count didn't seem like there were competing facts.
Interesting. Your thoughts on the verdict for Amber Heard based on the second Waldman statement? They found it was defamatory and that Adam Waldman made that statement on behalf of Depp as his agent, and they awarded $2 million in compensatory damages, zero and punitive. Your thoughts on that?
Well, she had her witnesses testify, and it was other than her, and they said it didn't happen. So there's a basis for that finding.
Your general reaction? I mean, I feel like you got the verdict pretty much right.
I didn't get to see the whole trial, but from what I saw, it sounded like if the jury had to make a decision between him or her, and you had to weigh the facts, it seemed like his side put out a better case than her side.
Very interesting. Well, thanks so much.
Thanks
we
so
were
much.
going to let you get into the shade because guess what? It's a steamy day here in Virginia.
Yes,
So we are going to go. Thank you so much, John. It was so good to meet you. Okay, so we are going to go out into the crowd. I guess I could walk and talk with you guys. I'm going to try to find some of the people who've been here since day one. So let's do that and take a live look as we do this as to what's going on. Camille Vasquez and Ben Chu made a statement just a short time ago. It was short and sweet, and then they took off. So here are the cameras. A lot of international media here. We're going to cross over here. Pardon us, excuse us. And just so you guys know, I'm not hearing any hosts in the studio or anything like that, just for technical purposes. But we are going over here to try to find some of the supporters who've been here since day one. Hi there. Hi. Oh, hi there. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. You're very sweet. Thank you. Okay, so let's. Oh, sorry. So sorry. Excuse me. Let's find some of the people who've been here for a while. Let's see if Becca will talk to us. Oh, Tiffany. Okay, so Tiffany Lunn has been here since day one, and we met on the first day of this trial. She was the first person I interviewed. Tiffany, we're live on the Law and Crime Trial Network. We're on our YouTube channel, of course. Your reaction?
First, I'm going to say hi, Mom.
Of course.
I think it's good because it showed that the jury found that he did not do the things that she said. The money, he wasn't going for the money, so I'm all right with the money. It just found that she didn't have any clout in what she was trying to say.
Were you surprised that they found for him on every question?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Were you surprised that they found on the second Waldman statement?
Yes, because, I mean, if it was just Johnny, it would have been different, but it also was Waldman too, so.
As his agent?
Yes, yes. So there could be speculations, you know, that would be like me going around saying something about my friend over there and then, you know, falling back on her because of the things that I said.
So Amber Heard put out a statement, her team did, basically saying this is essentially, and I'm paraphrasing here, a slap in the face for the Me Too movement, that you know, they had said in closing arguments this would send a message for all domestic violence victims and survivors. We had some people on the air earlier saying they don't believe that. They believe that this is, this case has to be taken as it is.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on those kind of claims that this somehow, you know, does a disservice to victims of domestic violence, male or female?
No, I think it shows that men can speak up too, because it's usually women that do. So I think it is not a setback for either side. Just if you do it, come with the truth.
Any other thoughts, Tiffany?
Bye, Mom.
Tiffany, thank you so much. It was so good to meet you.
It was a pleasure meeting you. We'll stay in touch.
All right, let's. We need to go find some other people. Let's walk through the crowd here, see who we can find. We've met a lot of people over the last several weeks. We should probably get that woman when he's done. Let's see who we got.
She knew him.
Sorry. Do you want to talk to us?
You want to talk to me?
Yeah, come on over. This is John Witherspoon. John Witherspoon is a lawyer here in Virginia. John, you've been coming to the trial. Your thoughts on the verdict?
I thought it was very fair. I was glad to see Johnny Depp prevail because I thought the evidence did support his side of the case. I do feel bad for Amber's side. I think her lawyers did a nice job, the best job that they could. And I feel a little bit bad for Amber. I'm sure she's bitterly disappointed and probably not able to really understand what happened, because I think her mindset was that she was in the right all along. And I think that was revealed when she was on the stand in particular. But, you know, I wish them both the best. I really do. And I'm sorry that the case has been a platform for a lot of venom and vitriol that's been flung at Amber. But like I said, I wish her the best, along with Johnny.
Yeah, and vitriol, yes, I agree with you on the vitriol part. But really, I think this case should be taken as a message about the truth, and the truth being important, and people should not be afraid to speak up as victims of domestic violence, whether they're male or female. I feel like, in a way, we've heard people saying that this verdict could hurt domestic violence victims. In a way, I almost feel like this trial, watching it unfold and watching some of the comments, may empower victims of domestic violence to come forward.
I think that's absolutely right, and I think one of the real positive things to come out of the case is going to be a larger national conversation about some of these types of issues. Female on male domestic violence, male on female domestic violence. I think that the verdict has the potential to reset some of the dialogue about the Me Too movement and the woke movement, only to the extent that it will probably encourage people to be a little bit more circumspect before they immediately hear an accusation and react to it in the way that it seems like Disney did with, as soon as the accusation was lobbed against Johnny, it seemed like Disney immediately sprung into action and threw him under the proverbial bus or under the proverbial pirate ship.
Or over the ship,
Yeah, right.
They walked him down the plank,
Well put, yes. So I think that part of the conversation is going to be very interesting, just exactly whether we wait until the facts come out or whether we react immediately.
And if anybody from Disney wants to call us and comment, feel free. We will bring you on. Jerry Bruckheimer, we will bring you on. Sean Bailey, we will bring you on. Okay, as far as the second question about the Waldman statement and them finding that it was defamatory, your thoughts on that?
I think that was a fair result on that question. And I don't think that the implication of it was as profound as what Amber Heard said about Johnny Depp. And as a result, I think the monetary award was appropriate based on the level of damage that was done.
Okay, great. Thank you, John Witherspoon. I appreciate it. So sorry, we've got to move around the crowd, but it was so good to meet you. Thanks so much. We'll be in touch, right? Okay. All right, we're going to move out over to Becca. Miss Becca has been here every day, and she said she'd finally talk to me after weeks of me trying. Becca, you've been here since day one. What do you think? What are you feeling?
I feel happy and excited, and I feel that it went in the correct direction for today. And I even thought, you know, it could go one way, the other way, both ways. I mean, this was a really tough case.
Yeah, it's defamation. Defamation with a public figure it's difficult, you know, it's got a higher standard. You know, you were here supporting Johnny Depp. You would line up on the street every day and watch him leave, shoot the cell phone videos. You know, he's in the UK. I mean, your thoughts on this coming to this type of conclusion. I mean, he didn't get the $50 million in damages that he wanted, but he ran the table. He won every question.
Right, and I feel that the most important thing aside from money was that he got to tell his story. He got to tell the truth about what happened, and I think that was what was most important. Even if he won $1, I mean, he got to finally speak up for himself.
You and I were talking, I think yesterday possibly, the days are all running together, but you said that you were following this during the divorce case and the UK trial. Given that background, have any of your feelings about the case changed at all?
No. Well, just with the end part, I suppose with Adam Waldman's statement being found as a defamatory statement and possibly untrue, with the details that I learned from the divorce to the UK case to now, I just feel though that it is true that she did cause a hoax and said some false things, and but other than that, yeah, I think that this went in the right direction.
Why did you start following it? I mean, were you a Johnny Depp fan, or did you just see something that struck you about it and you took an interest?
A little of both. I am a Johnny Depp fan and have always been since I was a child. But it started with the kitchen video released to TMZ, and I almost was in disbelief because there were claims attached to the kitchen video, and it didn't show anything towards her, but you can't help but think, is it believable or is it true? And, you know, I am a victim of multiple things, and I tend to believe all women, but this specific case opened my eyes to not believe all women. And following the evidence and from the divorce through the UK trial, as we said already, I just was a little bit disappointed in myself for taking that stance at first, because I didn't have all the facts.
Do you think it should be less about believe all women, but just maybe listen to the evidence, listen to the facts, take these things seriously instead of coming up with slogans that automatically convict people?
Right, yes, I do. I just
kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, and you know, we've been saying, you know, domestic violence, there is no gender for domestic violence. It can happen to anyone. It can happen to, you know, an older male with money or fame, or, you know, it could literally happen to anyone. If he was truly deeply in love with her and wanted to make it work, he was willing to put himself through hell to do it. And it can happen to anyone.
Becca, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anjanette.
It's been so nice to meet you, and it's been nice to meet everybody. Everybody's been so kind. So I'm sure we'll talk another time, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night. All right, so let's see. We've got some more people here. Here, let's see. Hi there. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
What's your name?
I'm Sophia.
Sophia, have we met before and I just forgot?
No.
Okay, if I did, I apologize. You know, it's been a long few weeks.
No, you're all good.
Sophia, where are you from?
I'm actually from this area. I'm from Virginia.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
So your thoughts? What are you thinking and feeling right now?
Well, I'm definitely shocked to see how the case turned out. I was a little bit more shocked to hear that Johnny Depp didn't get any punitive damages.
No, he did.
Did he not get compensatory damages? Because I know he got $0 for one of them.
No, that was Amber Heard. So
He
here's
didn't get any punitive damages?
No. So here's what happened. Let's just clarify because I think this is confusing for people who don't follow.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's really confusing. So he won on every question about the defamation. They awarded him $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive, but there's a cap, a state statute, a state law, and the cap is $350. So the judge brought that up. So he was awarded, the jury did award him punitive damages. She got 0 punitive damages and $2 million compensatory for the second Waldman statement. So does that clear things up?
It does, except I am still a bit confused because I understand that to have compensatory damages, you also need to have at least $1 in punitive damages. Is that not correct? Because I understand the litigation for that is you can't.
I think they have to award for the compensatory at least $1.
Yes.
Yeah.
To have punitive damages.
Yeah, but they didn't award punitive. So anyway, what are your thoughts about how this unfolded? The decision, the verdict.
I'm pretty pleased. Yes, I think that it played out how it should have been, and I'm very happy with how it worked out.
Have you been following the case the entire time?
Very roughly, yes, but I have been following because it has been on pretty much every single news network there is.
Okay, great. And is this your son?
Yes, this is my son.
Okay, you brought your son out. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Explain is this, I don't want to misstate the character. Is this Mad Hatter or something?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
correct.
that's what I thought. Okay, what's your name?
Hiroki.
What is it?
Hiroki.
Hiroki, nice to meet you. How is this, what's it like for you to be here, hanging out with Mom during this big day?
How's the baby?
It's like nice. It's like good and nice.
Do you want to say anything to Johnny Depp?
I wanted to, but it's like there's just so many people. Like it's hard to say.
There's definitely a lot of people. Okay. Yeah, no, the kids don't.
Thank you, guys. Okay. All right. Okay. So, thank you, guys. Okay, so I think I'm sending it back to you guys. Stacy, let's send it back to you. I'm going to run around and get some more interviews, but I thought we should run around and kind of get the flavor of what was going on here outside the courthouse, kind of just the scene and all.
Absolutely, taking the pulse outside there while the fans still linger around despite this intense heat out here. Someone said welcome to Virginia, so they're probably used to it. But I think that those were some really interesting interviews of the people who have been here since day one and some really thoughtful reactions to the verdict as well. Always good to sort of have that color of the scene out here. I mean, the crowd is starting to disperse. I can tell you our cameras did catch Amber Heard leaving out the back door of the court a little while ago. We're working to turn that video around from you. We know at this point we have statements from both of the stars. I just want to recap for anyone who may sort of be joining now. About an hour ago now, these verdicts came in, the jury handing down a huge win for Johnny Depp, finding that Amber Heard did make 3 defamatory statements. There was actual malice behind it, and awarding him $15 million in damages. As for her countersuit, they found one of the 3 statements made by Johnny Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman, was defamatory. Amber Heard being awarded $2 million in damages. But most observers say, look, this is a major win for Johnny, not so much for Amber, and she herself in her statement acknowledges the loss and calling it a setback for all victims of domestic violence. As for Johnny Depp, he put out a statement through his spokesperson. It's also up on his Instagram page, saying that 6 years ago, my life, the life of my children, the lives of those closest to me, and the lives of the many people who for many, many years have supported me and believed in me were changed forever. He goes on to talk about the charges and says, 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back, and I am truly humbled. My decision to pursue this case, knowing very well the height of the legal hurdles that I would be facing and the inevitable worldwide spectacle into my life, was only made after considerable thought. Goes on to acknowledge the noble work of the judge, the jurors, the court staff, of course, his legal team, ending with the phrase, the best is yet to come and a new chapter has finally begun. using the Latin words for the phrase "truth never perishes." Linda Kenny Bodden still with us back in the studio. Linda, I want to talk a little bit about the monetary damages here, because for people who may not know, this is where it gets a little technical, right? The jurors awarded Johnny Depp $10 million in compensatory damages, $5 million in punitive damages, and they awarded Amber Heard $2 million in compensatory damages. So Linda, first, tell our viewers the difference between compensatory and punitive damages.
Okay, let's start with when the judge turned the jury back to the jury room and said you have to
Right,
at least
because they hadn't written anything
They hadn't written anything. She said you have to at least find $1 in compensatory damages. So that's when we all thought Johnny Depp had won, but they hadn't awarded him damages because the jury must have had the punitive damages there, right? So they went back in and they filled it out, probably forgot, and they awarded $10 million to him in compensatory damages. Now, what is that? That could be for loss of work. That could be for his, he wasn't asking for emotional distress, but he was asking for damages to his reputation. You don't have to actually prove those when you have what's called a defamation per se case, which is what this was, because Amber Heard basically accused him of his crime. So that's what they gave him, whether it's for one movie or whether it's to pay him back for his divorce proceedings or however they arrived at it. Punitive damages to punish a person, exactly what it says. I'm going to punish you for doing this action, right?
Basically.
But in Virginia, I'm reading the statute right now. Anyone can look it up. Maybe the Johnny Depp team will call us and talk to us about it. Please, Ben Chu, Camille Vasquez, 801-38.1, that for any action, including medical malpractice, but for any civil action, punitive damages are capped at $350,000 per statute. But the jury should not be told of this limitation. So essentially, that's probably why Elaine Brenderhoff, when she was talking about Amber Heard, only asked for $350,000 because she knew punitives are capped. So Johnny Depp's award really is for $10 million plus $350,000 in the real world.
It'll be interesting also to see, because he said he doesn't want any money from this, so will he sort of, make a symbolic move and donate it to charity or something? I mean, we'll have to see what happens. Linda, some exciting news from the field here. We have a big interview coming up. Kathleen Zellner, who is a case consultant here, who's played a big part, is going to be joining Anjanette live in just a few minutes. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with much more live from Fairfax, Virginia, where the verdict is in the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. Stay with us.
While the timer is ticking on, to put a little side note here, this is from Amber a while back when the case was still being heard, and this was written by her social media account saying that I'm going to go offline for next several weeks. As you may know, I've been in Virginia where I faced my ex-husband Johnny Depp in court. Johnny is suing me for an op I wrote in the Washington Post, in which we encounter my experience of violence and domestic abuse. I never named him. Rather, I wrote about the price women pay for speaking out against men in power. Wow, that's long as right, but from a lot of point of view here, man, Amber actually was in court hearing or whatever. This is ridiculous, and top of that, her false claim was very kind of predicted, and she showed it on herself on the camera, saying that she lies about things, and yeah, that's a false allegation here, and I'm just happy that Johnny Depp won, and Disney should really think about getting in touch with Johnny Depp and maybe reimburse him with the Pirates of the Caribbean, the series or whatsoever, as a damage reputation things. And I think it's a good idea that Johnny Depp won, and $2 million was given to Amber as a subsidiarity of what she claimed. But the $15 million that goes back to Johnny Depp, I don't think it's gonna reach to him, or he's gonna direct donate it to the charity. I'm not so sure what he planned to do with the money, but from what I'm getting from Amber was a temp of depression here, so whoops. As a final clock down, and I want to say, I do hope Amber learn her lesson and be very mindful of what she's doing in the public. And you're not talking to one person, you're technically talking to the 360 or 365 country that is literally viewing. So I just hope that Amber have a brighter future and a brighter monastery for herself in the future to come. So before other people bombastic me for the whole entire morning, I'll say that Amber is in the wrong. I got it, but I do hope Amber learned her lesson. And before the time clock in, I better mic off.
As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $5 million. In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Ms. Heard's claim against Mr. Depp.
And that was Amber Heard listening as she found that the jury determined she was liable. And really this verdict says that the jury determined that Amber Heard lied and that she did it to hurt Johnny Depp. The jury awarded Johnny Depp $10 million in compensatory damages, $5 million in punitive damages, and that's capped at $350,000 by statute. Joining me right now, live via Zoom, is somebody who was involved in Johnny Depp's team. She was brought in as a consultant and an advisor. Famed attorney Kathleen Zellner is here with us, joining us. Kathleen, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited that you've agreed to do this, and we really appreciate it. Your thoughts on the jury's verdict?
I think that the jury absolutely reached the right verdict. I think it's hugely vindicating and exonerating and everything for Johnny. It's something, that he's really had to deal with, particularly since the UK verdict, and all the way back to the TRO being entered in 2016. So I think it's a great victory. It reassures me about how well juries work and why we can trust jurors to come to the right decision. I think the case boiled down to a contest of credibility. I think that Johnny had a wonderful trial team that was totally prepared for this, and they performed even above expectation. They were just outstanding, but it's a great day for him.
I feel like, defamation, we've talked about this so many times on the air, especially when you're dealing with a public figure, is very difficult to prove because of the actual malice standard. But they did it. The jury evaluated all of the evidence. They watched Amber Heard's testimony. So your thoughts on that?
Well, I had always thought, and I really approached the case more as a criminal attorney, and Johnny had reached out to me just, a few months ago. I told him I was getting ready for a murder case, and then the murder case got continued, so I was able to, carry on conversations with him and sit through some of the depositions. But I really think it came down to credibility. I think her case failed, and looking at it as a criminal attorney, it failed on the forensic evidence. Those beatings and abuse that she described did not happen. I've been doing criminal cases for over 30 years, and the forensic evidence simply wasn't there. She just did not suffer the injuries. Forget about having witnesses. I can understand, that abuse victims don't have firsthand knowledge, witnesses present, but the evidence wasn't there. There just was not the forensic evidence to support what she was claiming. The second thing, because I've represented a lot of sexual abuse victims over the years, she wasn't afraid of him, and I think Camille Vasquez did a beautiful job of laying all that out, not only in the cross-examination, but in the closing. I mean, she wasn't afraid of him. She was, taunting him. She was very aggressive. And so her case just collapsed, and that falls at her feet. She just was not credible. That's why she lost.
I think it's really interesting that you point that out, and I've talked about this only briefly on the air. I've done stories. I've covered cases about sexual assault over the years. I've covered trials involving sexual assault, and these allegations that she made about the Australia, the bottle rape, which to me is indicative of some type of sexual sadism that is, it's so over the top and out there. She did not seem to me to present as other sexual assault victims who I had seen over the years. So I would agree with you on that. Also, I've talked about this. My mom counseled sex offenders who got out of prison over the years to try to help them get back into society. And that's the type of things people who are in prison for hardcore rapes do. So I think it was rather... You know what I mean? I maybe I'm getting too far into the weeds here, but that is some hardcore.
I agree with you.
That is, that's the kind of stuff my mom. I remember her.
Yeah, it would be a very advanced sexual predator. It would not be someone that started out and that was their first sexual assault. And you're right. I mean, we've had cases, where people have been raped with objects, and that is somebody that's very far advanced in that pathology. And plus, just she could not explain, the fact he had his cast on. The evidence wasn't there. There wasn't anything that indicated it happened the way she said. Even the location was wrong. And she did not show the trauma that I've seen with sexual assault victims. And you're right about the perpetrators. There's no possible way that somebody would just wake up at age 58 and commit that kind of crime. It never happened.
Exactly, and I know in discussing, obviously, ethically speaking, counselors and therapists, things like that, can't opine on these types of things, but these are things that my mom and I have discussed many times over the years, and when I told her about this, we had a discussion about it, and those are the types of things that people do to torture victims and to put themselves in a position of power over their victims. Let's talk now. I want to know how you got involved in this case. I read an article in the Daily Mail saying that Johnny Depp actually saw you in Making a Murderer 2, and that's how you came to become a part of this team. Is that right?
Well, I guess that's what happened. He called me. He left a voicemail at my office, and we couldn't really believe it was Johnny Depp that called, but it sounded like him, and he left a phone number and just said he wanted to talk to me. So that was at the end of December, and I was supposed to start a first-degree murder case in January, which I explained to him. It was interesting to me why he reached out to me, and it was indicative to me of the fact that he was innocent, because he said, I saw in Making a Murderer where you said, that you'd be the last person someone would hire if they were guilty, because you would find out about it. And that, I was very struck with that that's what motivated him to contact me. But his trial team was excellent, and they really had their entire plan in place at the point I came in. So I provided moral support for him, and also just, the fact that, her story was not believable, looking at it as a criminal lawyer. And, I really enjoyed getting to know him and having conversations with him. I think we all believed in him. We all believed that he could prevail and that he would be able to tell the story and win the jury over. So, yeah, it was an amazing experience, but I did come in right at the end.
You're saying you were providing moral support. He contacted you, so you have a relationship with him. Is the Johnny Depp? Is what we saw on the stand Johnny Depp? Because a lot of people tried to say, well, he's an actor. He was doing this. I read something in the a New York Post opinion piece where they were saying, give him an Oscar already. Your thoughts on comments like that, and did we see the real Johnny Depp?
Yes, you did see the real Johnny Depp. He's exactly the way he presented himself. His speech pattern is exactly that's the way he speaks. He's very thoughtful. He speaks very slowly. He thinks about everything that he says. None of that was acting. That is who he is. And he never varies from that. I found him to be just a very humble and sincere person, and probably one of the most unpretentious people I've ever met in my life. He's the real deal. That is the person that he is. That's not an act.
Well, that's really interesting to me. What would you like? You said he's not pretentious. I'm wondering, and I don't want to violate any confidences because he is technically a client, sort of, since you're an advisor, a consultant. He had said when he first got on the stand, he was doing this because of his children. Is there anything you can share with us about that motivation for him?
I do. I believe everything that he said on the stand was sincere. I do believe, what he stated is exactly how he felt, that he was very concerned about his legacy and rectifying this horrible lie that had been told about him. I think the great thing about his testimony is the trial team really brought out all of his thoughts about this. I thought they did a wonderful job of letting him, and I think that was Jessica Myers that did the direct.
Yes.
She did a wonderful job of just letting him explain himself. That's the way, if you were sitting with him today, that's exactly what he would tell you. He never varies. He doesn't contradict himself. He doesn't tell different stories. He's just a truth teller. So I'm so happy for him. He's been reborn.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you on that. And I don't know Johnny Depp, obviously, but I remember seeing him the first day of the trial. There's a TikTok video that they put together at the network of me saying, hey, I'm here and I'm doing this, and they it goes to a shot of him in the courtroom. And he looked very concerned, and he had come into the courtroom and kind of greeted his legal team and smiled, but this kind of a bewildered look on his face. But then we saw that lift. I don't know if you noticed that, but I saw a change throughout the course of this trial, and he seemed to really get kind of a spring in his step, if you would, or almost like he got his mojo back. Did you kind of notice that change?
Yes, absolutely. That's very perceptive. You notice that, because I felt that he definitely gained all of his energy back, and I think belief in the justice system. I think the UK trial, was really a travesty, and a lot of the evidence wasn't evaluated. So yes, I think it just, it was like he emerged with a huge weight lifted off of him.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that, and I think maybe some other people did too. Well, Kathleen Zellner, thank you so much for coming on such short notice again. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and this is really a great victory for Johnny Depp. And just so our viewers know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and I was going to say for this trial team, because this team, Ben Chu and Camille Vasquez and Jessica Myers and all of them, this is a great legal victory. They absolutely believed in him. They put their heart and souls into this thing. So they need to be commended for carrying this case through to the conclusion. So they should be applauded.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought they all did an amazing job. Jessica Myers, I think she's kind of been in the background, but she did an amazing job with his direct and redirect in both the case in chief. It was like she was almost like a therapist, just not a therapist, but she had this calming, cool,
it was perfect.
Not cool, but yes, exactly.
Yes.
And I thought it was really good. And Camille Vasquez did an amazing job, of course. I know you've tweeted about her. Just an aside, and we're going to have to sign you off, Kathleen, but thank you again for coming on. We hope you'll come on another time. But Johnny Depp, as far as the justice system goes, people might not remember this. West Memphis 3. Johnny Depp came out in support of the West Memphis 3. So the justice system and issues with the justice system are things that he's been concerned about for a long time.
Yes, and he even offered to, and I took him up on it, to write a letter to Stephen Avery from the Making a Murderer series. So yes, he's pretty remarkable, and he definitely identifies with the average person, and like I said, he's just humble. So it's a great day for him.
Great. Well, again, Kathleen Zellner, thank you again so much, and good luck with that upcoming murder trial. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more on this verdict, and we'll be joined by Mike Korobonics and Mitra Ahorian. I'm Anjanette Levy, and you are watching the afternoon session on Law and Crime, live from the Fairfax County Courthouse in Virginia.
I'm not sure whether I want to hear the verdict of what they're gonna say, but like I said, Johnny Depp win in a case where Amber lied, and what she posts is literally outrageous. I mean, to be fair, I've been following Amber and Johnny Depp on the social media platform, and both of them has been internal and external, like killing, like try to kill each other. But to those people that literally go and threaten Amber, saying that they want to kill the kid or whatever, please don't do that. I mean, literally, yes, Amber lied, yes, and blah blah blah. I mean, I don't give a fuck about Amber, but threatening a kid is no-go, I mean, literally. Have you seen the crime rate in multiple countries? And have you seen the crime rate in United States? I can tell you, million. And top of that, during the Civil War, there is nothing good about it either. So this is like a equivalent to Civil War. But right now, the keyboard warrior will be like, oh, Amber do this, Amber do that. And then later on, the next thing I know, people's gonna like go and threaten the kid, saying that, oh yeah, this is what your mom done, you lied, and shit. And multiple shit has been going in. But I'm very, very optimistic here, saying that please don't threaten when it's not necessary. yes, you can reach out to social media, but please, not on a freaking out of the mind saying that, oh, I want to kill somebody. No. The jury here has been given, and the justice system is correctly tuned. I mean, not to sugarcoat it or whatever. I mean, literally, yeah, sure. I mean, the jurisdiction depends on the Virginia state court law. I think they are going back live. Maybe not. Nothing. Oh, gotta go off.
3. As to this statement, appearing in the April 27th, 2020 online edition of the Daily Mail, quote, "We've reached the beginning of the end of Ms. Heard's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp," end quote. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, no. As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $2 million. As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $0.
Okay, so Stacey Delicat is back with me. She's been out in the crowd doing interviews. We both have, from a steamy Fairfax County, Virginia. And you just listened to the verdict being read for Amber Heard's defamation claim, in which the jury found that there was one defamatory statement made by Adam Waldman as Johnny Depp's agent, and that she was awarded $2 million in compensatory damages, 0 in punitive. You just talked with an Amber Heard supporter.
Yeah, it's like a needle in a haystack out here, right? We had mostly Depp supporters. We heard them cheering every time a part of the verdict was read in favor of Johnny. We heard them cheering when the Depp legal team came out. Most of them have dispersed, although a few are still mulling about, taking in their moment of victory. There is one woman named Sydney Porter who I spoke to. We're working to turn around that tape for you, who's holding up a big flag outside that says, Amber, we stand with you, and it has messages written from various women. And she said she just felt compelled to be out here because it seemed like no one else was standing up for Amber Heard, and she believed Amber, and she thought that this trial was yet another form of abuse almost for Amber, to sort of prolong the abuse, everything that's come out, and the negative backlash from so many Depp fans towards her and so forth. And so she said, she'd been out here since Friday when things wrapped up. She felt compelled to do so, so that Amber could see there are some people that stand with her. And certainly on the internet, there are some that are still standing with Amber, and there are a lot of people who agree with Amber that this is a setback for other domestic violence survivors.
And we've been talking about that because that's a claim that Ben Rottenborn made in his closing argument, that this would send a message to victims and survivors of domestic violence. I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's the way these people feel. I think, in fact, this has started a conversation about domestic violence and the fact that we can discuss these things, and that people shouldn't be ashamed to come forward. I've talked with several people who feel that way, and I've heard from people on Twitter as well. You have a really good question on your Twitter, right?
Yeah, I had an interesting question that came in because, again, we do have so many international viewers, and things happen differently in other countries. And I know Linda's still with us, and Mike Corbonix is with us, right? Hey, Mike. A viewer on Twitter wrote to me, Fran and you, hey, out of curiosity, in Italy, in a case of a civil lawsuit, the person who loses is paying the lawyers of the winning person. Anything like that happening here? Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Well, we're not in Italy, so I can't speak to the same law as would be in Italy, but a lot of this depends upon the statute of the defamation and actually the fee arrangement they have with Johnny Depp and his legal team, whether it's a contingency, meaning they get a piece of it, whatever the award was, or whether they agreed on an hourly basis. That all is a lot of questions that really is difficult to answer without knowing what the attorney-client relationship is.
Yeah, I mean, but Linda, no side is paying the other side's legal bills here, as far as we know.
Yes, I don't think there's a fee switching statute in in Virginia. I should say, I almost said New Jersey. In Virginia for defamation, usually the loser bears the cost and the winner bears the fees. Also, we'd have to find out from Gene Rossi if there is a fee switching statute, but I don't believe so.
Yeah, and when Gene was on earlier, he said, you know, if he had to guess, he thinks Johnny Depp's legal fees probably were something like $25 million, you know, with the, I mean, this was a guess of his. Yeah. No question they both racked up millions and millions in legal bills given how long this has stretched and what the trial involved.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Another interesting question, and I'm just going to pose this one to you. Mitra, I'm sorry if I catch you off guard with this because I know you're an entertainment lawyer, but this had kind of been on Twitter that homeowners insurance policies sometimes cover defamation. Mitra, is that a possibility here that Amber Heard's homeowners insurance policy would cover any damages that she would be ordered to pay?
That does not make any sense to me from my understanding of homeowners insurance, but perhaps people are confusing with errors and omissions insurance and the types of insurance that publishers typically have. And a lot of times in these, you know, if there was a contract between the Washington Post and Amber Heard, she may have requested that she be named on any sort of policy that they would have, as long as there were efforts to legally clear the story, which is what, you know, sounded like there were lawyers involved who did try to clear. I actually used to clear manuscripts because I was in-house at a book publisher, and we published a lot of, you know, Larry King, Bill Maher, those types of stories, and so we would always clear the manuscript for publishing, and we had an errors and omissions policy that would cover in the event that there was something that was sort of an error. Now, in this case, whatever that policy may have been, it would not have covered a situation like this where a jury actually found that it wasn't a mistake, that it was done knowingly, that there was this actual malice where she either knew that it was not true, or she had a reckless disregard for the fact that it was true. So errors and omissions is basically that. There was an error, and that was, you know, we have a hard finding that that was not the case here. So even if there was a policy, it would not have covered Amber Heard, unfortunately, for this, you know, $10.3 million that she now owes.
Mitra, thanks for that. I know you're sticking around, but we're about to say goodbye to Mike Korobonics. Mike, thanks so much. And Linda, you've been with us all day. Final closing arguments from you. Give us your 15-second final thoughts before we take a quick break.
Total win for Johnny Depp. He ran the table. You have to watch the Long Crime Network and watch trial coverages from beginning to end. Just don't go out there and comment and say this is a loss for domestic violence victims or whatever. Watch the trial. That's why we're here. Stay tuned with you guys. I'm leaving, but you'll still be on.
All right. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Mike. Mitra sticking around. We'll be right back after this break. Much more live from Fairfax, Virginia, the aftermath of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard verdict. Stick around. This is Long Crime.
Okay, I'm back here. So they are taking a break, and one of the person that is on the screen gonna laugh. But anyway, one of the viewer Precious Pin asking was who won the case. Johnny Depp won, totally won. I mean, he ran the tape and he won the race. But against the odds and crazy allegation that false statement against Amber from the day one trial to now, it's been 2 months long, and I literally been catching up every once in a while. I'm not saying the fact that I literally watch all the case, but whenever I heard Amber like about saying shit about things about Johnny Depp, saying that Johnny Depp is abusive, Johnny Depp is this, Johnny Depp is that, blah blah blah. As you can see, and Amber didn't hide it on her social media, so she did lie. I won't sugarcoat, I won't sugar say shit, but in fair point of view, Johnny Depp wins because of a very big difference, and Amber lost because she lied. And yes, she does have a kid. And no, I don't support violence or any of the killing that the Amber hater gonna wrote and roast me for it. And I'm not here to fight with keyboard warrior here. But fair point of view, I want to put it this way. Please do not threaten Amber or her family or anything, because this is a false allegation that she did. But in the reality, do not microwave kid, do not do violence. I don't like violence, and I do not support violence in any way. No, I don't think other streamers gonna say the shit things in the world that Amber has been saying for a long period as time. But I want to put it this way. Please don't cause uncertain damages. And I'm saying out on my own opinion, there's no need to put violence. There's no need to kill somebody for it. There's no need to microwave baby for it. And if you want to be in the death row, sure, go ahead, do that. But put it this way. What will your family think about you? A criminal? A killer? Or are you okay to lose your family about this? And what will your family think about you as a person that literally threatened Amber for something small? So please think about it. And yeah, I think Disney should continue to talk to like Johnny for recontract. They are going back live, so I'm out.
Yeah, go. Okay. Sorry guys, live TV, things go in and out. It's been a long, hot day here outside the court trial. I was actually just looking at some of the tweets from you, so keep them coming. We're staying on the air to take some more of your questions. I'm Stacey Delicat here with Anjanette Levy, of course, outside the Fairfax County Courthouse, where we are basically sitting and observing, talking about the aftermath of this verdict that really was a total win for Johnny Depp and a pretty big loss for Amber Heard, although the jury did find in her favor on one of the counts. After the verdicts were read, the jury was sent out, the lawyers came down and we heard from Johnny Depp's legal team. Let's go ahead and listen to those clips.
That the claims against Johnny Depp are defamatory and unsupported by any evidence. We are grateful, so grateful to the jury for their careful deliberation, to the judge and the court staff who have devoted an enormous amount of time and resources towards this case.
Our judicial system is predicated on each person's right to have his or her case heard, and we were honored, truly honored, to assist Mr. Depp in ensuring that his case was fairly considered throughout the trial. We are also most pleased that the trial has resonated for so many people in the public who value truth and justice. Now that the jury has reached its conclusive verdict, it's time to turn the page and look to the future. Thank you all so much, and thanks to the jury.
Thank you so much.
Johnny Depp's legal team on their way out, taking a literal victory lap as they emerged to cheers from the crowd. Excited to see them. Happy for Johnny Depp. No word from Amber Heard's legal team. Were you surprised that they didn't come out and make a statement? I'm not surprised that we didn't see Amber. Why would Amber come out here to the sea of Johnny Depp's hands? But I thought her attorneys might come out, make a brief prepared statement, be ushered in the SUV and leave. But no, they didn't.
Yeah, I agree with. I thought maybe, but at the same time, I feel like they've gotten hit pretty hard on social media and stuff like that, and maybe they were just like, you know what, we'll just let the PR team put out the statement. What could they say?
Yeah. Mitra Ahurian, entertainment attorney, is still with us. And I'm wondering, because, you know, you are an entertainment lawyer, you have some high-profile clients. I mean, would you have advised Amber's legal team to make a statement?
I think I understand in this scenario. This case has been its own unique beast with the social media and with the fans outside. With most cases that have some publicity, the lawyers may come out and make a statement. The client would be there. There would be some connection with reporters. But since this has been covered on live TV and it's been live streamed and cameras were in there for us to see every moment what was happening, and given the fact that there are this, you know, this sea of Depp fans, I think that any statement that they were to make would sort of fall on deaf ears and maybe elicit a reaction that would not be, might not even be safe. You know, who knows? So I think it was the right call.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's very possible that Amber Heard is going to do some kind of sit down. I know we've actually reached out, you know, we have requested an interview from her. I would not be surprised, you know, and I think that Dan Abrams, when he was on when the verdict first came out, actually, you know, this was his prediction too, that she will pick an outlet, someone that she thinks is sort of sympathetic to her cause, and do a very controlled interview. I don't think she was going to come out here into this sea of opposition to her or anything like that. Let's go back to, you know, the courtroom when the verdict was read. And Jeanette, you were inside, and you said that you didn't really witness much reaction from Amber.
Well, I could see the back of her head, and you know the hairdo was different than it had been. It was kind of like loose and everything. She'd had the braids and all that, but she was here awaiting news of the verdict, and I could see obviously on the television she looked disappointed. Clearly, her lawyers are disappointed. They, you know, Lane Bredehoff, you can tell, believed in her and believes in her, despite, you know, we were hearing some things in the background, some chatter that we didn't put on the air because we don't report things we can't verify. But, you know, she's been with Amber Heard since the UK trial, so they have a relationship, you know, so she clearly supports her and believes in her, and they're disappointed. But I think when this verdict, when we got word it was going to happen today, I just got the feeling that this was good for Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had that sense. And remember, we had a little bit of a false alarm. It was supposed to happen right at 3. The jury had forgotten to write in the damages, which ended up being $15 million for Johnny Depp, $2 million for Amber Heard, and so it took a little bit longer than we expected. Whether that was just an oversight, which I guess it was. Mitra, let me ask you a question. Do you think that it is a sure thing that Amber Heard will appeal?
You know, in order to appeal, there will have had to have been some sort of legal mistake or error, and I just don't see one here. I think, you know, everything was televised. You know, if there was any inequity or any errors made along the way, we would have noticed it. And, you know, I've been watching this and commenting on it from day one. The judge was very fair and very even-handed, and I don't think that there were any legal mistakes or any grounds for an appeal. She can't appeal just because she doesn't like the outcome. There has to have been a mistake.
Interesting take. And I mean, you know, this has been a long and drawn out trial, and it's, you know, the public has not been easy on her, so you have to wonder whether she would want to just try to put this behind her and move on at this point. Mitra, thanks so much. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have much more here live from Fairfax, Virginia. You're watching Law and Crime. to Law and Crime, the verdict aftermath here in Fairfax, Virginia. We're breaking it all down. We're letting it all soak in. The conclusion of what has been this very exciting, detailed-packed, celebrity-packed, 6+ week trial coming to an end with this jury's verdict today. And as we've been telling you, as you've seen yourself, outside the courtroom was certainly today mostly Depp supporters who cheered every time they heard the jury deliver one of their verdicts in favor of Johnny Depp. They cheered when the Depp legal team came out. There were really almost no Amber Heard supporters out here at all. But I did find one woman, Sydney Porter, who's been standing outside here, who's come to the courthouse in support of Amber since last week. I just spoke with her. So we know most of the supporters out here today, really for the duration of the trial, have been Johnny Depp supporters, but there are Amber Heard supporters out here as well, obviously disappointed in the verdict. One of them is Sydney Porter, who came out here tonight, and she has a big flag where people have written messages of support from Amber. We love you, Amber. Stay strong. We believe and love you always. You are believed. You are within the hearts and thoughts of those who support you. Sydney, your reaction to the verdict?
Disappointed, confused, but not surprised, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, you're confused why?
I feel like it doesn't really make sense in terms of just the defamation part and how it's affected their work life. With Amber, I feel like she didn't really have much outside of Aquaman that is really like a big thing for her. And we've heard how much her part has been pared back. Compared with Depp, he had already kind of been on the downfall of his career because of his drinking and drugs. So I don't think that her op-ed specifically was what affected him. So
there are so many opinions swirling, have been swirling this whole trial, but you have a group of people out there who is still saying, including Amber herself, that these verdicts are a setback for all survivors of domestic abuse. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree. I think it's shown that you can use the court to continue your abuse against someone, and I think it also shows that, you know, no matter how much evidence you have, people are not going to believe you.
Were you out here for most of the trial or just today?
I was out here on Friday when they finished up, and then yesterday and today.
Why is it important for you to be out here in the heat and be here for this?
Because there's not really anyone else out here for her, and I feel like a lot of the support that's online is not genuine, so I wanted to show her that yes, there are people out here who are supporting her.
Yeah, so she just felt like, hey, someone had to be standing out here for Amber. And look, I give her credit for being out here in a sea of Depp supporters. Probably she had a few nasty things said to her. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, maybe not. Maybe all of the nasty commentary is on the internet.
I feel like, actually, I've seen interactions. I don't know about today, but I saw interactions between Depp supporters and some Heard supporters. Obviously, the Depp supporters outnumber the Heard supporters. And I didn't see any crosswords.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Look,
right?
I mean, there was no scuffles or anything like that. The sheriff's deputies didn't have to get involved. But in your time that you've been out here, Anjanette, I mean, we know the crowd has leaned heavily in favor of Depp. But even yesterday, there was a Depp supporter out here. I didn't see him. I mean, a Heard supporter, rather. I didn't see him out here today. Have there been, like, a handful that have been here regularly?
Yeah, I mean, there was a woman we interviewed, Kylie. She was here from Minnesota for, I think, a week or two. This woman, Christina Taft from California, she had come out week 1 and then back the last week, and then she left. And then the guy with the sign, right? We saw him, and a couple of others, but really, I mean, I think maybe 10 max the whole time.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you know, definitely a discrepancy in the number of fans out here. But, I mean, look, all issues aside, that's just to be expected based on the size of Johnny Depp's stardom and, you know, his place in American international, really, pop culture, you know, over the last 30-something years. So, anyway, it was good to talk to her, I think, and bring in just another perspective because we are hearing so much in favor of Johnny. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've heard from both Johnny and Amber in statements released by their teams. When we come back, we're going to go over some of what they had to say. Stick around. I got it. Welcome back to Fairfax, Virginia, where we are continuing to break down this verdict, this overwhelmingly positive verdict for Johnny Depp today here in his defamation trial against Amber Heard. Of course, as you know by now, if you're watching, ultimately the jury ruling that all three statements in question were defamatory, were made with malice, awarding Johnny Depp $15 million in damage and finding for Amber Heard in one claim in her defamation countersuit, awarding her damages of $2 million. Johnny Depp, as we've said, was not here. He's still in the UK. I'm sure he's going to pop up on stage if actually it's 11:15 in the UK now, so perhaps he has already. We're so busy here.
I think we're getting our days mixed up because of the holiday.
Is there
no show tonight?
Okay.
It's tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so there is no show tonight, but he's probably out somewhere having
He was
a little
actually having a
celebration.
beer, it said. Or not, I don't know about a beer. I should strike that from the record.
We'll walk it all back and we'll say he wasn't here because he's going to be playing music this week in the UK.
Yeah.
But he released a statement, as did Amber Heard, and I'm going to read some of Amber's statement right now because obviously very different tones of both responses. Amber Heard, regarding today's verdict, said, "The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. I believe Johnny's attorney succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore evidence that was so conclusive that we won in the UK. I'm sad I lost this case, but I'm sadder still that I seem to have lost a right I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly." Before Anjanette reads Johnny's speech, let me bring Mitra back. Mitra, a lot has been said about these words that Amber made in her statement, but that her attorneys made even at closing, that this verdict is a bigger statement. It's a setback for all women who speak up against domestic violence. What do you think of that statement?
Yeah, and that message is consistent with what her lawyers tried to argue in closing arguments, that actually Depp's team had tried to file a motion and get that portion of the closing statements struck because they had tried to make this an issue that is much larger than it is. Defamation is not protected under the First Amendment. That is very clear. And so the fact that we're considering a defamation case is not really the same as considering this broader notion of the First Amendment. And in addition to that, this, making this case about the bigger issue of how this affects victims of domestic violence, that's something that Depp's lawyers argued should never have been included in closing arguments, because that opens the door to the jury looking at this in a way that's kind of like far more about their emotions and implications that this could have, instead of actually looking at the facts and evidence, which is purely what their job is. So the fact that they're releasing this statement, I think, is sort of missing the reality of what happened here.
Yeah, and that's a take that a lot of people certainly agree with. Let's go to Johnny Depp's statement now, which, as I said, very different tone there, of course. This is, a big victory for him, and he expresses as much in his statement.
Yeah, most definitely. So it's a statement from Johnny Depp via his spokesperson, and it reads, and it's pretty long actually, 6 years ago, my life, the life of my children, the lives of those closest to me, and also the lives of the people who for many, many years have supported and believed in me were forever changed, all in the blink of an eye. False, very serious, and criminal allegations were levied at me via the media, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content, although no charges were ever brought against me. It had already traveled around the world twice within a nanosecond, and it had a seismic impact on my life and career. And 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back. I am truly humbled. My decision to pursue this case, knowing very well the height of the legal hurdles that I would be facing and the inevitable worldwide spectacle into my life, was only made after considerable thought. From the very beginning, the goal of bringing this case was to reveal the truth, regardless of the outcome. Speaking the truth was something that I owed to my children and to all of those who have remained steadfast in their support of me. I feel at peace knowing I have finally accomplished that. I am and have been overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and the colossal support and kindness from around the world. I hope that my quest to have the truth be told will have helped others, men or women, who have found themselves in my situation, and that those supporting them never give up. I also hope that the position will now return to innocent until proven guilty, both within the courts and in the media. I wish to acknowledge the noble work of the judge, the jurors, the court staff, and the sheriffs who have sacrificed their own time to get to this point, and to my diligent and unwavering legal team who did an extraordinary job in helping me to share the truth. The best is yet to come, and a new chapter has finally begun. And he uses a Latin phrase here, veritas numquam perit, I hope I pronounced that properly, which means truth never perishes.
Some strong parting words there from Johnny Depp. I have a question from a viewer. Mitra, I want to get you to weigh in on this. Actually, Linda earlier was talking about this, and the question has something to do with, since the jury did find in favor of Amber that Adam Waldman did make one defamatory statement against her, could Adam Waldman suffer any consequences here? Linda was saying something about malpractice. What could happen with Adam Waldman?
I don't think it's going to go that way. I think, in terms of malpractice, I know that Johnny is willing to move on and ready to move on, and I don't think that he's looking to recover, whatever the $2 million or, from his lawyer. And the law already found that that statement was attributed to Johnny Depp. So I don't see this going any farther.
Yeah. Okay, listen, we're going to take one more break. We'll be right back, live from Fairfax. This is Long Crime.
jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $5 million. In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Ms. Heard's claim against Mr. Depp.
Okay, the jurors there, the jury foreperson, I should say, announcing the damages that they found in Johnny Depp's favor, a total of $15 million in damages. We know there is a cap, right, on some of that, Anjanette?
It's on the punitive damages. The judge said $350,000 cap per state statute.
Right. As for where Johnny Depp has been in all of this, we found out shortly before the verdict was being read that he would not be here, that he was in fact staying in the UK. The statement that Anjanette read to you before the break was put out by his publicist, but also posted on his Instagram. He remains in the UK, where he is expected to rejoin Jeff Beck on stage for a series, I think 3 more concerts throughout the week, although not one tonight. And some pictures that have come in, right? I mean, he's being seen around town in London, getting handshakes. What are you seeing?
There were some photos on the internet. I don't know if we have those ready yet, but he was in the UK at Bridge Tavern in Newcastle, England, and that's where he was when the verdict happened, apparently, and he was getting handshakes from fans, according to the service we subscribe to that sent the photos.
Right. A lot of high fives. Hey, Mitra, let me ask you this as an entertainment lawyer. You know, looking at the big picture here, is this the beginning of Johnny Depp's comeback? Obviously, there was this trial, there were the allegations, there was the loss he had in the UK trial against the Sun, and there were movie executives, even with this Amber Heard stuff aside, who were saying nobody wants to work with Johnny Depp anymore, he's late, he's abusive to the crew. Now, does this change all of that? Is his star going to rise once again?
I really do think so, and I think that there is power in a fan base, and I think the fans have really shown up for him. I think that the fact that he got the win with the jury that very clearly rejected Amber's claims, that's a huge win, and I'm surprised at that. I didn't see that happening, simply because, not because her story is believable, but because how hard it is to win a defamation case as a celebrity. And, those two things alone, I think that if he can, maintain his best behavior in terms of keeping, the kind of the addictive drug use and the alcoholism at bay, I think that studios would be happy to work with him again. Maybe not at Disney because of the history of that relationship and also that brand, but certainly I see other projects in his future.
Yeah. Well, Mitra Ahorian, entertainment attorney, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon as we broke down this verdict. What a long journey it's been for you. What a long day for all of us. We want to thank all of you so much for tuning in, especially those of you who have been with us, who have been with Anjanette, who have been with Jesse from the very beginning. Thanks so much for watching. There's going to be much more coming up in the days ahead as we continue to break this down, continue to talk to players. Anjanette, I'll leave you with the last 10 seconds.
Thank you to everybody for trusting us. This was a big story. It means more than Hollywood. Thank you, and we will have more to come.
Stay with Law and Crime. Much more to come.